All right, I think we're live. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Devinus45. We are back with another new NFL season about to kick off here. We are going to be doing our yearly NFL preseason breakdown. We're going to go division by division tonight. We are going to touch on player acquisitions, draftees, etc., sleepers, anything, you name it. If something comes up in that division, anybody's got something to say, we're going to talk about it. If you guys do have any questions or anything, feel free to post them in the chat. We'll be looking for those. I'll pin them up on the thing as often as I can when I see them. And we will try to address them when we can. Now, we may not address it right away. We may wait if it's something that's not in a division we're talking about. We'll try to funnel it through as best we can. We may not get to everybody. It's just kind of hard to say. We'll see what happens. But I want to start by introducing who I have in here right now. To the right of me is going to be my man, Brady. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good, man. Good.
You're good? You got your Justin Fields jersey on? The NFC North's getting ready to butt heads with my Vikes?
I know. I'm actually excited. Big year for Justin, year 3. Hopefully take a big step. DJ Moore, number one wide receiver. So it's a good year to be a Bears fan.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll get more into it as we talk about the NFC North, but that'll probably be saved as one of our last ones because I know between you, me, Balls, and some of the other guys, that's kind of a big one between all of us, a rivalry, if you will. So below me, I got my man, not to downside him, nothing, the big man himself. I got Chef Marty. Some of you guys may recognize his face. He's in a lot of videos with Pittsburgh. Anthony's one of Anthony's good friends. I kind of got an idea of asking him if he would do this a while ago when I realized that he was a big part or play-in with helping Anthony draft one of his fantasy teams that Anthony's involved with us. And he's like, I don't really know a lot, man. I had my guy, Marty. He knows everything about football. I'm like, he knows everything about football. Let's bring him on. Let's do this with the podcast. So excited to have you on, Marty. Excited to hear your takes. Excited to kind of go through this. And let's get ready for this NFL season. Nate will be joining us. He's going to be late. Balls, I don't know what's going on, if he's going to be able to make it or not. If he does, he does. If he doesn't, we miss you, brother. And if anybody else wants to queue in at all at any time, let me know. I'll send a link, and you can kind of pop in and just chime in. But we're going to try to get through this. We're not going to try to make this like a long, drawn-out thing. We're just going to kind of hit it division to division, touch on these key parts. So I want to get right into it, guys. There's been a lot of movement in the NFL. A lot of movement. We've all seen it. We all know about it. We've heard about all of it. We're not going to tell you anything as far as acquisition-wise or anything like that you haven't already heard. You're getting that from your main sources that come out right away. But I want to start with the AFC East. And I want to start with the AFC East right now because I would say that the Jets are that team right now that probably made the biggest moves in this offseason. Some people may disagree with me, and that's fine. But I want to hear you guys' takes. Brady, why don't you just roll right into it? Touch on the AFC East. Touch on what you see here, what you like, what you don't like.
No, I think the thing that we need to keep in the front of our minds is that the Bills are not going anywhere, right? They are the reigning champs of the AFC East. Josh Allen returning is going to be huge for them, and the biggest challenge for them right now, I think, is Aaron Rodgers going to test time as well as Tom Brady did? Because we've seen him in Green Bay now for 15 years. It's going to be a new scheme for him, new head coach, new team, new system. And we saw that transition with Brady. We saw how well that worked for the team. And it's going to come down to his legacy. Can he do the same thing that Brady did? Can he lead that team in that division? Can he lead him to a Super Bowl? And time will tell.
Okay. Marty, what do you got for me, man?
I think, there's obviously a lot of hype around the Jets around Rodgers. The one thing that I would find concerning if I were a Jets fan, okay, you look at Tom Brady, just using that example you had. When he went to that Buccaneers squad, they had an awesome offensive line. And they invested their first-round pick that year at a left tackle. To me, I would be worried that Rodgers is going to take some big hits behind that O-line.
I would agree with that, Marty. I would definitely agree with that. It's just that's one thing. Your O-line, your offensive line, it seems to be something that lingers a lot of teams, right? A lot of teams that maybe are close or on the verge, but just can't quite get there because their quarterback's getting murdered. Their quarterback doesn't have the time. They have the weapons. They can't get the run game going properly because the offensive line's not on the same page. I mean, there's a lot of factors in here. Now, they pick up Dalvin Cook from my Vikes, right? They release him. He gets signed by the Jets as well. They got Breece Hall, that rookie that got hurt last year. He's back. He's going to be healthy. I don't know if he's ready week 1 yet. Maybe someone here can confirm that. But there are a lot of things that look on the plus side, on the positive side. You got the Sauce, probably one of the better, defenders coming off a crazy rookie year. You got Garrett Wilson, who Aaron Rodgers has been absolutely raving about all off season or in the preseason and workouts and stuff, saying this kid is going to be a Hall of Fame. I think he even said, didn't he say somebody's going to be like a Hall of Famer or something? Don't quote me on it, but he had high praise for this kid. Now, again, you have all these weapons. You have this offense that is fully loaded. You have a solid defense, right? Defense is really what kind of kept them together last year as they made a playoff berth. Can they make a run even with this offensive line sitting the way it is? I mean, even when we look at just the AFC East, even when we look at, we got the Bills, we got the Patriots, right? Now, Patriots, they pick up Zeke. They get Zeke Elliott, to join the team. But is Mac Jones, is he going to be able to fight in this division? Is he going to be able to be that guy and be like he was that first year he played? Or is he going to be kind of like what he was last year, just kind of a nobody? I mean, what do you guys think?
I think with Mac, you look at what he had last year.
Well, I just think – go ahead.
Wasn't there – I believe that they had a defensive coordinator who was switched over to offensive coordinator last year. Like, he did not have a true offensive coordinator, nor did he realistically have much in the way of weapons.
Right.
Now, they didn't get, anything huge on offense, so to say, but they did sign Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins. They grabbed Juju. Development. I know they're big on that Thornton kid they drafted last year.
Yep. And they also, they got Juju. Yeah, they did pick up Juju. Didn't they also pick up another tight end? Wasn't it not just Gesicki, but wasn't it the two guys? Did they sign two tight ends?
I know they grabbed Hunter Henry and someone else last year.
Where did Hayden Hurst go? Hayden Hurst went somewhere else. He's not with the Ravens anymore. Did he go to the Patriots too? No, he went to the Panthers. That's right, Panthers. So many moves with these tight ends. It's hard to keep up with them all. Go ahead.
I'm going to be very intrigued if the New York media says the sky is falling by the end of week 6. Just out of curiosity, I looked up their schedule. Their first 6 games, I'll read them to you. Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, Chiefs, Broncos, Eagles. That is 4 juggernauts in the first 6 weeks. There is no runway for Aaron Rodgers. There's no cupcakes in there. There's no getting the offense up to speed. So they're going to rely a lot on Aaron Rodgers' arm the first couple weeks, and I mean, there's a real shot they're 2-4 going into week 7.
So do we think was the schedule released before he came out and said that he's going to restructure and do 2 years instead of 1 year because he feels it's going to take 2 years to actually win a championship there, not just this 1 year?
That I don't know.
We'd have to check on that because maybe that had some merit in what he was doing. Because maybe he looked at it and he was like, not that I think he'd look at a schedule and be like, I'm going to get my tail kicked or this is going to suck. But you never know. I mean, going from 1 year, we think we got it, to now I'm going to restructure and do 2 years because I just feel like I have to be here 2 years to make it happen. There's some question marks there. Dolphins, is there anything that really sticks out in Miami, guys?
I would say Tua. I mean, he stay healthy.
Right.
He was literally on an MVP trajectory before he got hurt with the concussions last year.
Yeah.
I remember watching that game against the Ravens just in awe of some of the passes he was making. They still have Waddle. They still have Hill. Rumors are they're going hard after Taylor right now, too.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's jump over to the the AFC West. So we got the Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers. We got our man Jimmy G out there. I know he's loving some talk about his Raiders. So we got Russell Wilson, who goes to Denver last year, just doesn't do much of anything. lost some weight, got in shape, says he's the old Russ. He's the old one. He's going to be good, ready to go, lock and loaded. You got the Chiefs, who are always going to be a contender with Patty Mahomes there, Kels there. They can lose Tyreek Hill like they showed, and they can still be right up there with everybody. You got the Raiders getting Jimmy G, right? So Niners get rid of Jimmy G and Trey Lance, the two guys that were fighting for a starting job in San Fran not too long ago. You got Devontae Adams back there with him. You got Josh Jacobs, who just showed up, signed his contract or got it set, switched his number to number 8. So he's coming with a new number. He's coming with vengeance. And then you got the Chargers, who you got Justin Herbert, who signs that big contract. The problem I don't like with the Chargers is Herbert, I think, is a great quarterback. But, man, Keenan Allen's getting really old, and Mike Williams needs to figure things out. That's how I see it, right? So what's your guys' takes on the AFC West? What do you see here, pluses, minuses? Where did people advance and where did people fall back? Either one, guys.
I think one of the things that we should keep an eye on here is I think that the AFC West is going to be won by the Chiefs. I think they have Patrick Mahomes. He's a guy that you slot in about 10 wins a year, no matter what, depending on the pieces around him, anywhere from 10 to 14. I really am optimistic on Russell Wilson, and simply because he won and it was too successful in Seattle for me to feel like he's just what he was last year. I don't know. I don't want to give him a complete pass because the Broncos gave up a lot and paid him a lot of money to come in and be their quarterback, and he just didn't play well. But, man, he year after year put up numbers in Seattle. They were a winning organization, and as much as you want to give that to Pete Carroll, I think this is a team that can take a step forward from last year, and I think you're going to see the Broncos and the Chargers competing for a playoff spot behind the Chiefs in the division.
Okay, like it. Marty, you want to add anything to the AFC West?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the Chiefs and everybody else just pretty. You can't. Everything's been said about Mahomes, and if they can get the Chris Jones deal hammered out, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. But they're going to be a juggernaut regardless.
Yeah.
The Chargers, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued to see what they do with a different coordinator. Especially, I believe it was Kellen Moore who's over there now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Keenan Allen, he's up there, but he's one of the best route runners in the league. Mike Williams, he's tall, fast. Honestly, to me, I want to see what Quentin Johnson can do.
Yeah.
If he kind of add the spark to that offense, that could mean a lot to them. And I mean, I believe Allen was out 8 games last year, and Mike Williams was out 4. So right there, Justin Herbert, he's meant to air it out. He needs those deep threats to really be, functional in his offense.
Yep. And you got Eckler there. You can't forget about Eckler. Like, you got one of the top running backs in the league right now, standing behind him to hand off the ball. So, yeah, I mean, they should be able to develop that pass game with his abilities and everything Eckler can do. But these guys, like I said, man, like Williams has to show up. Like, I was huge on him last year. Huge. And he just burned me, killed me. Like, I had him like up there, and I thought he was gonna just break out. I thought he was gonna have a breakout season, and he was just kind of ghosted. I mean, he just really wasn't there. So, anything else, Marty, on the AFC West?
Yeah, poor Russell Wilson. Like, I want to see him do well. He seems like such a good dude, but he already lost Gary Jeudy and Tim Patrick for the year. Tim Patrick for the year. Judy's out. I've seen conflicting reports. I've seen anywhere up to week 6 at this point. Right.
And it's hard to say. He might come sooner, might come later. Welcome, Nate. Nate popped in here, our boy Nate.
Yep.
What's going on, man? How you been?
Ooh, man, I've been pretty good. Can't complain at all. I just still excited for football to come back.
Yep.
We got college. We got the official week 1 college football this weekend, and then we got pro football. So I'm excited. I got fantasy drafts going on. So
I hear you, man. We all do. Yep. It's a good time to be alive, right? So we're doing this division by division this time. So we're just kind of touching on all the teams within divisions. Is there anything that sticks out that hasn't already been brought up or said about the AFC West that you want to add in on this?
I mean, I think y'all pretty much touched on everything. I just want to see if a team can actually emerge and kind of challenge the Chiefs in the division. Like the Chargers is kind of like the team that can do it, but obviously the either have injuries or underperform. So I'm not sure about that. The Broncos should be good, but they get killed with injuries. Like every year, it's always like Corson is out certain amount of games, or Jerry Judy got hurt again, like in the preseason. So them, it's just like them, and then I'm not sure about how Russell Wilson and Sean Payton's going to be. So and then Oakland, like Jimmy G's a winner, but I'm not sure how good this Oakland team's going to be. So I agree with the chef here. I think it's the Chiefs and then the rest of the division. So
Yeah, Balls just commented. He said Herbert will always be second fiddle in that division.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's probably true unless something crazy happens, which like health wise, which we don't want to see, but like with someone else wipes out Mahomes or whatever the case may be. All right, well, let's roll on in. Let's go to the AFC North. So there's pretty decent news here too. We got Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. So Ravens, obviously, they get Lamar signed again. They have OBJ come back, or not come back, but join the team. Bengals, you can't ever leave out the man Joe Burrow. The guy can throw a 360 bomb and hit his receiver like in his warm-ups, man. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but it's pretty sick. Browns, I mean, I don't know. Nick Chubb, maybe a little bit of Amari Cooper. There's some stuff there. You got Deshaun Watson getting a full season with the Cleveland Browns this year. And then you got Steelers. You got Kenny Pickett. You got George Pickens, who has really been a name that's been kind of floating around a lot lately. People are trying to say he's going to be the top receiver. He's one of the top talented receivers in the NFL, trying to overshadow like the Jeffersons and the rest of the elites in the receiver core. I want to hear you guys' takes. Where are we at here with the AFC North? Nate, I'm going to have you start this time since they've kind of went, and then we'll go Nate, Marty, and then Brady, and I'll tie in anything else in the end.
Honestly, this probably gonna be one of the more competitive divisions I think this year, because honestly, like when people look at the AFC North, they're gonna be okay. It's probably going to be Ravens or Bengals, assuming that everybody stays healthy. But honestly, the Steelers might miss the North this year, especially if Kenny Pickett can make that next level, the next step up, and then honestly, like George Pickens, like said, it's like kind of like that. I guess the hype of the fancy name this year, because he kind of have emerged as like the number one guy, because at first it seemed like it was Deontay Johnson. But he kind of fell off a little bit, and then so kind of like Pickens gonna be that guy. They got Najee Harris and what's it, Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren, he looked pretty good in preseason as well. So the Bengals big carries there, and then on defense they're pretty solid all around. So honestly, like I still think it's gonna be either Bengals or Ravens in that division, but it wasn't probably the Steelers coming like 10 or so games and possibly, be up there to compete for division like in week 18. So I think it's be good, competitive. The Browns, it really depends on like what it really just depends on like do we get the Houston Deshaun Watson or do we get last year Deshaun Watson? Right. I think probably see more Houston's this year because they got full training camp and for the team still. But I don't know, like the Browns, like I saw like Amari Cooper. I don't think really like too many weapons. Like obviously they probably still like run the ball with Chubb a good bit as well. But I think they're probably gonna be fourth. But I can definitely see win probably like 8-9 games. I think so. Like I said, it'll be pretty competitive. I think.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Marty, what do you got, man?
First of all, I'm throwing out the disclaimer. I am a diehard Steeler fan.
Yep.
Okay, so throwing out that disclaimer. With that said, in this case, I'm going to say, I think if anyone is going to knock off the Chiefs in the AFC, it's going to be the Bengals. They shored up, they got a better offensive tackle this year with Orlando Brown Jr.
Someone's echoing. Hang on, Marty. Hang on, Marty. We're getting a big echo. Somebody's echoing. We good?
We good?
We're still echoing for some reason. Try again. Speak.
All right.
Okay.
So I was going to say, if any team is going to knock off the Chiefs in the AFC, it's going to be the Bengals. They have a solid run game, so obviously a great passing game, solid defense. They're my pick to win the division. With that said, I think the Ravens are still a really great team. I think the Steelers are probably a year or so away, but the potential is looking great right now. It just boils down to Pickett.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to agree, Marty. I think for the Steelers, as a Steelers fan, you were very similar to where Bears fans were last year. You're probably a better team than the Bears were last year, but your entire season is basically, did Justin Fields take the next step? Does Kenny Pickett take the next step? And that's if that's the goal you're setting. If he does take the next step, you could win 5 games. You could win 8 games. It'll be a successful season.
And they're always going to have a solid defense, right? Like that's one thing Pittsburgh always comes with year in and year out. Their defense is always up there, always, for sure.
I think the North is really similar to the West. I think the Bengals are above everybody else in regards to the AFC North.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens, Browns, and Steelers are 3 better teams than maybe the Broncos and the Raiders are, but it'll come down to Lamar Jackson being healthy, because it's been a couple years now since we've seen a full season of a healthy Lamar Jackson, and what does Watson look like? But I actually agree with Marty. If I had to pick an AFC Championship game right now, I would not be surprised if it's Chiefs-Bengals.
Hey, Pittsburgh says, Marty, can you please only refer to them as the Bungles? All right, moving on. Now, this is the AFC South is actually exciting right now. And why is it exciting? Because 2 of the 3 top drafted quarterbacks are starting in this division, right? So you got C.J. Stroud for Texans. You got Anthony Richardson for the Colts. Then you got your boy T-Law over in Jacksonville. And then you got the Tennessee Titans getting old D-Hop with D. Henry back in the mix. I don't really know who's actually throwing over in Tennessee. Who's the starter as of right now? Did they name it? The quarterback? Huh?
Ryan Tannehill.
Is he still there? Why are we echoing again? Somebody's got something else on or another thing not muted. So let's dive into it, right? So it's kind of exciting. We got CJ Stroud, we got Anthony Richardson, we got news that we don't know what's going on with Jonathan Taylor, right? There was all this talk about him in his back like a couple weeks ago, and he was coming out saying that's bogus, that's bunk. They're bringing this stuff up. So whether they're just doing it because they don't want to play him, or they're having the issues with him and they can't get on the same page, whatever you want to call it. Where do you guys see this division? How do you see these rookie quarterbacks pan out? And where the heck are the Jaguars going to land when it's towards the end of the season? Where are they sitting?
I think the Jaguars. I'll go out on a limb here. I think the Jaguars win the division, and I think they go 11-6. I think they take a big step this year.
I don't mind that call. I don't mind.
They won 9 games last year, but I don't think anybody really thought of them as a competitor in the AFC. I think Trevor Lawrence takes another big step, proves why he was the number 1 draft pick, and we'll see how it shapes up at the end of the year. But that's my sleeper in the AFC is a Jaguars team that I think takes another big step.
All right, Marty?
Completely agree with what he's saying. I think the Jaguars are definitely a dark horse in the AFC period. If Trevor Lawrence is everything that they are saying he's going to be, generational and all that, which, I mean, he's shown the signs, he's shown the flashes, but they got a really good left tackle in the draft, and they get the returning Calvin Ridley. And that, to me, is if Ridley puts up, like, stats comparable to the year that he and Julio were tearing it up in Atlanta, that's huge. I mean, between that, Christian Kirk, some of the other weapons they have down there, I'm drawing a blank right now. Obviously, Etienne's a decent running back. I mean, they could really make a run for it.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And I think the big thing there is, like, man, they got a monster in Calvin Ridley. Like, I don't think people realize, like, and now with Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to him, and like he's brought up Kirk and Travis Etienne, and I mean, they are going to be tough. And I hit on what Brady says, that 11 win record is, I like that take. Nate, where you got us here on the AFC South?
Shoot. Well, first, I definitely agree with the guys that definitely think the Jaguars easily be the best team in this division. And yeah, I agree. I can definitely see them win 11 games this season. I like the offense, really explosive. Like I said, they got Kyrie Ridley, got Christian Kirk, and they balled out last year. He's back. Etienne is a stud. He can run. I think he had like 5 yards of carry last season. good receiver outside the backfield. So pretty much the main thing is like, can the defense at least be decent? Like if the Jaguar defense can be at least decent, they can easily win 11 games, I think, this season. But shoot, like I'm looking at the rookie quarterbacks because I didn't see, but the Colts played the Eagles in the preseason game, so I kind of have a little like able to watch Richardson. He looked pretty good. He looked good. He was accurate at throws, moving. Something like because like he pretty much was the guy who was like should be drafted high, is he be good, is he be not. So I'm interested to see him and Charles, see how they do and progress. And then Tennessee, I guess Tennessee's gonna be okay. Let's say like they do have D-Hop, but if they're gonna play Tannehill for a little bit, then
they need help at quarterback.
Yeah. So
they're stuck in mediocrity.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Dude, like the Stone Age's quarterback, like just stand in there and just bang it out.
Well, it's one of those middling things that we talked about before. We talked about this last year. That like if you don't have a quarterback that elevates a roster, you have to be a very good roster, and you basically have to have a roster like the 49ers did with Jimmy G in order for it to have a middling quarterback. So they're stuck in this purgatory right now where they drafted Levis. They don't think I heard he's going to be third string to start the year if he's even playing at all. And just Tannehill running that back every year. It's just, the Jaguars, we say that they're surprising the AFC, and I think we're talking about the playoffs, but I keep looking at this division. 6 games against the Texans, Colts, and Titans. They probably go 5-1, if not 6-0. That, we wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that it'll be interesting to see.
What happened with Malik Willis? Like they just gave up on him or what? Like they said he was last year when he was in camp, like they said it was crazy how well he improved his footing, his footwork, everything. Like they showed a night and day difference within like weeks. Like he was just picking things up quick. And they just go ahead and go get Levis now. And I don't know. Some of these teams, I don't understand their process. What's that?
I think Malik's the backup.
Yeah.
I think he's officially the backup. So.
Yeah, probably. That's what I'm saying. Like I guess Willis is just probably going to just be a practice guy or practice squad guy or a forever third string quarterback in the NFL, right? I mean, he's still young. We could see something might change. But all right. Is there anything before we go to the NFC side and on the AFC, we touched on some pickups and stuff, but is there any rookies besides like Anthony Richards, CJ Stroud, we already touched on when we went through the divisions? Is there any rookies within any of these AFC teams that you guys like that just stick out to you? And maybe there's somebody out there that sticks out to you that there's not a lot of talk about. There's not a lot of hype yet, but you have this feeling they're in a position where they were drafted. The team needs them. They haven't had a lot of time to shine because it's been preseason. They're not getting a ton of snaps maybe because they're a higher draft pick or a later round draft pick. Who knows? Maybe they're just trying to make the squad. Is there anybody out there that sticks out, though, that you see as like a sleeper, a bust, either direction? We don't have to go through them all. Just anything that would stick out.
For me, one of the sleepers I've been drafting constantly in a lot of my mocks, Marvin Mims, third-round pick from the Broncos. It really just comes down to target share. And realistically, what do they have right now? Cortland Sutton ahead of them?
Yeah, and with Judy out, or Judy going to miss quite a bit of time and everything else going on over there? Yeah. Yep.
I think you already mentioned Quentin Johnson. That's one that stuck out of my mind. But actually, I think a bigger one, and this is more long-term, not fantasy, is Dalton Kincaid. There's a lot of hype on him. We always talk about first-year tight ends, so I'm not talking from a fantasy aspect. I'm not even thinking he's going to be making that big of an impact in the first 8 to 10 weeks. But this is a Bills team that's going to be battling the likes of Pat Mahomes and, Joe Burrow. And I think that threat, if he can develop during the season and have that threat in the playoffs, I think that is a huge aspect for the passing game that the Bills have maybe lacked a little bit moving forward, being so relying on Diggs when they get down to in the playoffs.
Okay. Real quick, before we move on, anybody else got anything? Nate, do you have any sleepers or busts, anybody specifically? Otherwise, we can move on.
I actually got a couple guys for the Steelers. One is Calvin Austin III. He's been showing out in the preseason so far. Speedy guy. Definitely see the Steelers using him in a bunch of different formations or this kind of like more in slot. So, and then another one is like another guy that kind of had like a lot of like hype was Darnell Washington. Could be got him and Fryer move there. Could be a deadly tight end duo. So those kind of two guys that kind of caught my eye in the draft for the AFC.
All right, man. I like it. I like them all, guys.
I enjoy Porter Jr.
Good takes. So Alex has got a question before we move to the NFC. He has 4th pick in his draft. Who does he take if he's available?
Assuming it's PPR.
Yeah, if it's
assuming PPR, you're probably looking at J Jets 1, Chase 2. I would go with ever of Cup or CMC. Personally, is where I would lean. I'd like CMC for a full year in San Fran. And Cup was number 1 in points per game when he was healthy last year before his injury, and so those are safer picks for me.
Well, okay. Well, in the draft that I'm doing right now, McCaffrey went 4th.
Yeah.
It went Jefferson, Chase, Cup, McCaffrey, then Eckler went 5th.
See,
I personally would take Eckler over Cup.
What's that?
I said I personally would go Eckler over Cup.
And I would.
Can't hate it either way.
And I personally, when I did my top 10 fantasy, like for running backs, I had Eckler 1. So I would probably take him over CMC as well, personally. But I'm not saying that's what you do. See, I still have to get used to him now being a 49er. Like, even though he was there last year, but
yeah,
I'm used to him being overutilized. We used to talk about this when he was with Carolina. Like, that was their go-to. I mean, obviously, he's the best player on the team. He was a go-to player. Like, he played or got possession of 75% of the plays. That's why he's always hurt. I mean, he's getting banged up. He's getting hit every freaking time he's out there on the field. So that's something I have to get over. But anyway, I still see Eckler over him.
I do see balls in the chat said Kelsey number 4. Kelsey, I think, has a potential to be the best overall value because the difference between him and the next tight end and Andrews is so large. Yep. I would just say that if you're going to take Kelsey 4, you have to have a plan in how you're going to attack the rest of the draft.
Right.
And because if you're going to get away from the premier positions of running back and wide receiver, you just have to have more of a plan in who you're going to identify.
How many teams? It would also depend, too, a little bit on how many teams there are in this draft.
Like, is
it 8, 10, 12? How many guys? Yeah, because like Brady says, like if you go after that tight end, he is going to be that top elite tight end. But is he going to outscore one of these Ecklers or, one of the other top running back receivers or whatever? He might, but he might not. And again, like you said, there's a lot less available, especially in a running back, running on the running back side. You only have so many, and then you're just you're into a lot of shared community type atmospheres where you're not getting the maximum potential out of the player. You're getting partial. They're sharing too many snaps. They're rotating too often. They can't get in a groove, right? So those are things you got to think of for sure. It's a 12-man team. Yeah, 12-man league. So it's a bigger league. It's not an 8-man or a 10-man. So you're going to have your options are going to get even more limited in those positions. So Kels, I think Balls is right on with it, but at the same time, you got to really weigh which route you want to go if he's there and if you take him. All right, let's dive into the NFC sides. Let's start with the NFC East. So we have the Cowboys, right? Dak's back, right? They're talking about it. Dak's back. Dak to Lamb. Dak to Lamb. I don't know. That's what they're saying. I mean, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but all those Cowboys, the Cowboys Nation out there, they're standing. They're like, Dak's back. You got the Giants, who entrust in Daniel Jones. Barkley looking to come back with another good year. Receiver-wise, Slayton resigns. Who else did they pick up? What other offensive weapons did they pick up, or did they draft, or who do they got rolling with them? Because I don't know who else he's throwing to besides probably Slayton. Darius Slayton.
They got like Wando Robinson.
Hodgins there.
Hodgins, okay.
Yeah, Hodgins, like Wando Robinson, who I think they drafted last year.
Okay. All right.
Jalen Hyatt, too.
Who?
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. And then we got Nate's Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. We got Jalen Hurts looking to have another huge season, maybe trying to get that MVP. He's got Rashad Penny, who signed over from Seattle now, who's a beast running back. Who else you guys pick up over there?
Let's see. Rashad Penny. We also signed DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
No, okay, no, that was it. And then we picked up like the receiver from Atlanta, like Alameda Zacharias, or how you pronounce his name?
Okay.
Yeah, like the receiver. So
all right, and then we got the Commanders, which we got word that what's his face is starting, the rookie from last year.
Oh, Sam Howell.
Sam Howell. He's getting the nod for Washington. Terry McLaurin, is he going to be in for a big year? Can Sam get the ball to him, make it happen? We'll see. So, what do you guys see in the NFC East? What sticks out to you?
Eagles, Cowboys is basically, I think, the division. I think the Giants and Commanders are an obvious step behind to varying degrees. Who knows? I think I want to talk quickly about the Trey Lance trade because I think that is very, very interesting, especially considering the reports that Jerry made this trade without even Dak or who's that coach there?
McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy being aware of it. Apparently there's an out in Dak's. There's after next season, there's a little bit more flexibility in Dak's contract if they do want to cut ties. So that'll be very interesting because it feels like the Cowboys have been in the same kind of level for the last 5 years, right? They've been a good team, close to a great team. There's been injuries. There's been disappointing seasons. Things pop up here and there, and I think Jerry's kind of getting annoyed with the whole situation and wants a winner. And this is a little bit of pressure that only cost him a 4th-round pick. And if Trey Lance never plays it down for the Dallas Cowboys, I think Jerry would be very happy because that means that Dallas made the next step and Dak's playing well. So.
Well, besides Dak not being healthy, I think over the last couple of years, Dallas has probably done something. They've changed from what they used to be, right? On the run game side, right? They were always a one back type of deal. Unless Zeke needed a quick breather because he bounced a couple big runs or whatever and he needed to get out and get a breath quick, he was back in there. He was Dallas's every down back. Then you get a stud like Tony Pollard that steps in and starts to kind of break out when he's got lingering injuries, Zeke and everything else. And now you no longer have Zeke. Obviously went to New England, so now you don't have that shared backfield. Pollard, like people talk about, should have a breakout year, right? It should be some would say maybe even last year as him being like a shared running back with Zeke, but a true breakout thing. Now, Deuce Vaughn also went to Dallas, right? They drafted Deuce Vaughn. Yep. Deuce Vaughn's been turning some heads this preseason. Now, it's only preseason, but are we going to run into another issue where Dallas has been kind of stuck with this running back by committee for the last few years? Are they going to slowly wean him in? He breaks a couple of decent runs. He looks good. Oh, crap. Now we got to do shared time with these guys. Do you guys see that, or you feel like Pollard is just going to be that dude and he's taking it home for Dallas as much as he can anyway this season? What do you guys think?
Pollard, to me, Pollard's the workhorse. You're going to obviously see some of Deuce just to give him the relief, give him the spell. Yep. But I think that, it's got to be 75-25 at the absolute most, I'd say.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Deuce Vaughn's tiny, right? He's like
he's small.
He's
small.
He's like a McKinnon, like a Jarrett McKinnon jet.
Well, if for Bears fans, he reminds me of Tariq Cohen, right?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Very much with a scat back out of the backfield, going to catch some balls. Might get some third down, long type of play. But I think Pollard earned himself to be the go-to back this year, and I agree with Marty that he's going to get the lion's share.
Balls has an interesting question while we stay on the NFC East right now. He says, does Jerry Jones go after Jonathan Taylor? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why he would.
Yeah,
he didn't want to pay
exactly
Zeke.
With Pollard. Maybe
it just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. I don't think you'd pay him, and if that's what the contract. There's other things going on with Taylor and
right
Indy, but from from what it sounds like, whoever deals with him, there's going to be a large contract in place beforehand. And Jerry doesn't seem like the type of guy to me that was going to dish out a record-setting deal that Jonathan Taylor wants.
Right.
They're also going to have to re-sign CeeDee Lamb and Parsons.
Yep.
They have the young talent coming up. It would make no sense to allocate the resources there.
No. Yeah. You just kind of sticking yourself. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the NFC West. We got the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray should be back. I don't know if he's set for actual week 1 yet, if that's been confirmed or not, but he should be back playing this season. Little man that can throw big. We got the Rams. We got Matthew Stafford, who just recently came out. I read this I think today or yesterday. Says he's having a hard time being a leader with the young group. He said that he basically told his equipment manager or somebody that he literally wanted pictures with every player's, like the new players' names, like all that, because they got a bunch of new young players on their team. He says he's having a hard time communicating with them or leading them. So that's interesting. OBJ no longer around, hasn't been, but 49ers, we already know what's going on there. We got Mr. Irrelevant leading the squad. They obviously send Trey Lance, who we just touched on, to Dallas. They got McCaffrey, fully healthy from what it sounds like. They got Ayuk. They got Debo. Debo, apparently, what was the issue in the offseason? Or he got in different shape, or he lost some weight or something because Shanahan or somebody was giving him some crap. And he said he's going to get himself in the best absolute shape he can so he can be a beast this year. So we'll see if that all translates and if that happens. And then we got the Seattle Seahawks, who were, I think, kind of a surprise last year with Geno Smith taking over. So you got Geno Smith over there again. Now you got that Jackson Nixon from the Ohio State.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You got him over there. You got who's running back over there? Penny's gone.
It's the rookie
Walker
from last
and
year.
Charbonnet.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yep. So you got him. Decent defense. Talk to me, guys. Where do you guys see the NFC? What do you see that sticks out in the NFC West, I guess?
Are the 49ers quarterbacks going to remain healthy? Because realistically, I mean, if Purdy goes down, Sam Darnold is not winning you a championship. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen.
The Red Rifle can't do it, huh? The Red Rifle 2?
They have the single most complete roster in football outside of the most important position.
Yeah.
Which just amazes. The whole Trey Lance thing just amazes me. There's got to be something in the water with Trey Lance that they saw this is not going to be the thing. Purdy looked good, but he looked good in 5 games. All right. Like the NFL figures guys out, figure out tendencies, figure that, there's an adjustment period. We see this a lot of times, sophomore slumps, quarterbacks go through it. Right. Yeah. And so the fact that they moved on from a guy that they gave up 2 first-round picks for so quickly to put all of the marbles in on Brock Purdy, there's a very good shot that they waste their current roster because they didn't address the quarterback situation, 1, in a way that was effective, and 2, the person that they put all of the resources in moved on from them so quickly. It's if I was the GM right now in San Fran, this is a ginormous year, and I don't know how many more times or how many more resets you're going to get at the quarterback position if Brock Purdy decides it ends up not being the guy. If I was a 49ers fan, I would be very worried because Bears fans knew it. Bears fans in 2018 had a ginormous roster built with stars, and we had Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, and they just wasted away that roster. And the 49ers have a significantly better roster than the Bears did, and there's still a question mark at quarterback. Personally, I think so.
Now, there was something that came out recently about the whole Brock Purdy deal and about him being being that last pick and the 49ers taking a stab at him. And some of the question marks that came around it, they were talking about how their scout, one of the scouts had been watching him in college for a long time and just saw this crazy potential in him. And that's kind of what led them talking with the rest of the organization and them looking to pick him up last. But then the other question is, if you saw so much potential and you saw so much greatness in this guy, why was he literally drafted for the last pick? I mean, I get it. They got him there. That's awesome. They got him last pick. But we're talking about could be a possible great quarterback, drafted last pick in the NFL, a huge story. It already has been a big story, but could be even a greater story depending on if he can do something with this team within the next few years, whatever, actually win a championship or do something crazy like that. But why wouldn't you draft, especially on a quarterback level, right?
Yep.
Quarterbacks, that type of position, why would you literally wait through how many picks you have within the draft, even if you drafted them in the 5th round, right? Or 6th round, you got whatever you needed. You went after in other spots. Why wait till that last pick or in the last round to draft him? I guess that just kind of throws up some question marks to me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they can say what they want, but realistically, with Purdy, I mean, he was a glorified game manager. I mean, he made a few plays. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But are you going to? He's probably not going to knock off any of the top 10 quarterbacks head to head.
No.
Like if you're in a playoff game, a playoff situation, imagine it's him and Jalen Hurts going back and forth down the field.
Right.
Like that's such a huge Eagles advantage.
Yep. No, I got you. So, anything else? Anything you guys want to touch on? Anything else between this division? Anything stick out really?
I'm actually pretty intrigued by the Seahawks team because obviously like Geno had like a career, I guess, revival last season. So like one, can he duplicate that or be better? And then two, like they have a pretty good offense. They got DK, they still got Tyler Lockett, and they got Jackson Smith and Jibba as well. So they got a pretty good offense. The defense is improving again. So I'm kind of interested to actually make the playoffs this year and make a little noise this season. Because they clearly are the second best team in that division. So I could probably see them. I don't know. They probably win like possibly 9 games or 10 games. Like I don't know like exactly like the schedule, but they got a good offense. They got a pretty solid defense, so they can make some noise this year.
I mean, you got to kind of be a fan, whether you like the Seahawks or not. Like I'm not a Seahawks fan, right? Probably a lot of us aren't. But you got to be a bit of a fan of a Geno Smith, right? Like a comeback guy like that, like. Kind of being the guy that couldn't really get it going when he's drafted, goes through all these teams, goes through the ringer, goes to the NFL, and just doesn't give up. It's that story of not giving up and just continuing to push through, fight through, and has a solid season last year and gains himself as still being a starter with that team. So that's huge. So, all right, let's go to the NFC South. We'll leave the NFC North for last. So NFC South, we got the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously the big thing that sticks out here is Bijan Robinson, right? The dude's a beast. I mean, the guy's the only guy I think I could ever see that, I posted a video or a pic one time not too long ago about that game in 2020 when he was at Texas playing Texas Tech, I believe, when he tried to jump the player. And he landed on his head, and then he got hit from the sides, and his whole back and his legs were like behind his head was like this, and it was like behind the opposite way. I don't know how he didn't get paralyzed. I don't know how it didn't affect him more. I don't know how he finished the game, but he ended up finishing that game even. This dude is an absolute stud. This guy, he's going to get it done. It just depends on how well this offense can get cooking with everybody else around them. The Panthers, Bryce Young. They bring in my boy, Adam Thielen from the Vikes. I miss you, Adam. Come back. I miss you. But they bring in Thielen. They got – who else did they pick up? What running back?
Miles Sanders from the Eagles.
Yep. Miles Sanders from the Eagles. They got
Hayden
some
Hurst.
Yep, Hayden Hurst. That's where Hayden Hurst went to. Yes, he went to the Panthers. You got the Saints with big news too, right? They get Derek Carr, right? Who else did they pick up? They picked up, Jamal Williams? Chris Olive's coming off, seeing if he can have a breakout sophomore season. Did great last year. Michael Thomas restructured his contract, seems to be healthy. So we'll see if we can get a little bit of glimpse of the old Michael Thomas. Where do you guys – and then we got the Buccaneers. We got Baker Mayfield named the starter. I don't know about that one. We'll see. I want to hear you guys' takes. Where are we at with the NFC South here, guys?
Honestly, this is probably the Saints division to lose, I think, in my opinion. Both the Panthers and the Falcons are both rebuilding. They both got young quarterbacks with Ritter and also in Atlanta. And then Tampa Bay, I just don't trust the QB, like the QB thing. Like Baker Mayfield has flashes of, looking good, looking great, and then he just falls off. And then Trask is still improving, but outside, yeah, I say like with the Saints got Derek Carr. They got tomorrow's gonna be suspended for the first 3 games, I think,
Yeah.
4 games. But
Yeah.
still
They
got
got
him.
Williams anyway.
They got
dude.
Williams. Yeah, they got Williams. They got Olave. He said Mike Thomas is back healthy. So, yeah, like I think it's gonna be the Saints division to lose. I think this year for the South.
Marty?
Agreed entirely. This is the Saints division to lose. I think Carr is probably, you could make an argument that Carr is a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. I mean, realistically, I would probably take Cousins. I would definitely take Hurts. But, realistically, present day, you could make that argument. Now, I think Olave to me is the breakout receiver of this year. I am a huge fan of him. They also drafted a running back, Kendry Miller.
Yes.
Pretty decent prospect.
Mm.
The Bucks lost Ryan Jensen. They said he's out for the year.
Yep.
The Falcons have a little bit of upside. I mean, they're putting some offensive weapons in place. Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan's a great start, but what is Desmond Ridder? I mean, he looked all right to end the year, but Mariota was garbage last year.
And he let's be honest, has Mariota ever really been like, besides the college days, like maybe when he was in Oregon, is Mariota ever really been a great NFL quarterback? You know what I mean? Like it's funny. You watch some of these videos people post and like, yep, there's our quarterback Mariota throwing one again, and it's like 50 feet away from the receiver. It's like, come on, man. Like, do better, be better. So, yeah, I agree. They got to figure out and see where he goes, see where Ridder ends up, see what he can do for him. Brady, what do you got?
Pretty similar. Saints, I think, are the team to beat. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Derek Carr has a career year, and I think part of that is because he has been his image has been completely trampled by being in with the Raiders and just the crap show that was the last few years with all of their.
Well, think about everything he's had to go through and that team's gone through.
Yeah, I mean, the coach, the suspensions.
With Ruggs and that whole thing, and just one of their draft elite. All sorts of crap, dude.
And the other part of that is just nobody else in that division. I mean, you have Bryce Young, Desmond Ridder, who hasn't had a lot of experience leading a team. So it'd be very surprising if the Saints don't win the division. But I think that in general, no team coming out of there is going to be a threat in the NFC. So a battle for mediocrity, as sad as that sounds. But
yes, sir. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's get into the last division, and then from there we'll kind of take our picks on who we feel each of us is going to represent the AFC and NFC at the end of the season. So the NFC North, your Chicago Bears and Balls' Chicago Bears, Brady and Balls. Detroit Lions, Tommy T's team, Eloy the Goat's team. My Vikes, and you got the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love at the helm. So a lot of things have happened, right? DJ Moore to the Bears, Justin Fields looking to have a breakout season. People talking about it. They're hyping him up. Can he live with the hype? The Lions looking stellar. They get that Gibbs kid. Their defense is looking great. Tom T says he's ready for the NFC title run in Detroit. That's what he's saying right there. He's got it up on the screen. And then we got my Vikes trying to continue to be a dominance in the NFC North, hopefully trying to push a little bit farther with the old handlebars on Kirk Cousins and Brian Flores at the helm on defense, and our addition of Jordan Addison to kind of replace the Adam Thielen. So I want to hear you guys' takes, man. Obviously, Brady going to have a lot to talk about with the Bears. So maybe we'll go Marty, Nate, and then Brady. And then I can wrap it up if I got anything, and if anyone else wants to chime in. But, Marty, I want to hear your take on the NFC North, where you see it stands, what sticks out, what doesn't stick out, who's going to suck, who's going to be great.
It's such an open division. I will say this may be the best grouping of skill collection talent in the league based on a division. I think Christian Watson is an absolute stud. Jefferson's the best receiver in football. You got Justin Fields. You got, just so many weapons. Jordan Addison. I watched him with Kenny Pickett at Pitt, his Pickett senior year. And it was just electric. So, and not to mention TJ Hawkinson. Like, that Vikings offense is loaded too. Can Madison carry the load?
Right. Yeah, thanks, Tom T, for Hawkinson, by the way, buddy. Appreciate that one.
It's so open. I mean, it's hard to say. Can Fields make that next step? Are the Lions, are they going to put up the kind of point totals they did last year with an improved defense?
Yeah. Well,
You know,
the Bears too. Just touch on. I'm not, and then you can continue. But this is probably something Brady can touch more on too, because he might have more information on it. But the whole DJ Moore thing, I don't think people realize on a receiver level, stats wise, what he's done in his first so many seasons. He can probably pull it up. I saw someone post something about it, and I don't exactly remember what it was, so I'm not going to quote it. But it was something to do with him being like in the top so many in the last so many years with production wise, points, touchdowns, etc. in receiving core. If you just look over the course of so many years, so a lot of excitement. It's already shown in preseason for them. Obviously, he's had some big touchdowns already. Again, it's preseason. We get it, but he's done this before, and he's done this with mediocre quarterbacking. Right? He's had like Sam Darnold throwing to him and some other people. So what could be huge. Marty, I'll let you continue. Sorry, bud.
oh no, you're good. You're good. The Vikings have a lot of talent. Like, there's not a bad team, in my opinion. I think they're all decent teams in that division. It's not like the NFC South where it's literally a turd sandwich.
Right.
But I gotta say, to me, I'm really intrigued by what the Lions are going to do this year. I've already seen Goff make a Super Bowl. Granted, it was with a ridiculously talented team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, there's so many weapons, especially once they get Jameson Williams back from suspension.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Nate, where you see us?
Sure, I pretty much agree with everything. Yeah, like I definitely think this is gonna be a wide open division. I think I try to see because I see like the biggest question is kind of like in the division is how Jordan Love's going to be, because obviously the Packers been lucky to go from Favre to Rodgers, so it's kind of like, can Love be like the next guy to be the quarterback for the next 10, 15 years? So that's I think the biggest question in the division. But I agree with Marty, man. I like the Lions. I like the Lions a lot this year because one, the offense is really good. They added Jahmyr Gibbs, who I like a lot as well. He's gonna be I think he'll be a really good running back, and then also like they added some guys on defense, like Garner Johnson. They added, and then they added a corner. I forgot the name, but they had
Cam Sutton.
Cam Sutton. Yep. Yeah. So because the biggest weakness on the team last year was their defense. So if defense could at least be like decent, like maybe like even like average defense, they can possibly make some noise in the NFC North as well with the Vikings, Packers, and the Bears. So I'm definitely excited to see this division. I think it's gonna be a dog fight to the end. I think to like week 18. So I'm definitely gonna be excited to see who comes out.
So between the four teams, I want to hear, because this is kind of a special one because there's a lot more of us in the north side as far as our team is. I want to hear, and Marty, I know you're not necessarily a North guy, but you're a football guy. You're a Pittsburgh guy, but I want to hear in order how you guys see this division finish as far as top. Who wins it? Who's second? Who's third? Who's fourth in this NFC North?
Brady may not like my answer, unfortunately.
Oh no.
I think it's going to be Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears.
Okay.
I think you're going to see enough development out of Fields, though. I mean, that Bears defense, I mean, like for a casual fan, naming 5 pieces on that defense would probably be a stretch.
Well, and we in reality and honesty, we got to be a little realistic too. I mean, anything can obviously happen. We look at things on paper right now. We see all this stuff until the games get played out, until things happen. We'll see we see crazy things, right? We see elite teams lose to a crap team in 1 week. They just don't show up. They're not there. And that could happen. And of course, it could go either way, right? But I think either way, I think you're right. I think we're going to see the progression of Justin Fields. I think we're going to see him kind of take that leap. But I think they still have some building they need to do to really be at the top and be the top competitive team to take the division or win that division. Now, if they prove me wrong, Brady and Balls can laugh at me and whatever, and I'm here for it. I love it. I'd love to see some change, whatever. I mean, obviously I'm a Vikes fan, so I want my team to win, but at the same time, I like to see these guys that are kind of in that tinker. Are they going to make the next step? Are they going to be, more elite or be a top quarterback? Or are they going to stay behind? Or are they going to eventually fall off? and I want to see Fields succeed. And I've always been a DJ Moore fan in Carolina. I've always tried to pick him up in fantasy leagues over the past few years because I know what kind of monster he is. I know what kind of beast he is. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand there. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad shot. It's just, if they can improve and get however many more wins than they had last season, and Fields gets that much more experience and improves that much more, that's a big jump. That's a big leap. Because I don't think anybody's expecting. I don't even think the Bears are expecting that they're just going to go out and be a championship contender this year, right? I mean, that's probably not realistic. I mean, they're going to play for it. They're going to try, but do they really feel like they truly, truly, truly have it? I don't know. So, Nate, you're up.
All right, from me,
He's just got a smirk on his face.
I'll probably go. I'll go Vikings 1, Lions 2, Bears 3, Packers 4. With the Vikings, like I know Thielen's not there, and I know they traded at least Dalvin Cook, but I like Madison a lot. Madison plays well when Dalvin Cook got injured, during the team with the Vikings. So I like Madison, and I like Jordan Addison as well. I think he'll be a good number 2 to Jefferson. With the Lions, like I said before, I like the offense, and they have some pieces on defense, so they'll be pretty good. Bears, hopefully the Bears can let Justin Fields free, let him throw the ball down the field, let him continue to run the ball,
give him time, right?
Yeah, give him time, let him be let him play quarterback. That's my opinion. And maybe I got the Packers 4 because I just don't know very much about Jordan Love. That's pretty much why I got him 4. But I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's gonna be any bad teams in the division, but it's gonna be. They'll be pretty close. And also, Week 18, possibly for the division, but in my case, it will be Minnesota plays at Detroit Week 18, possibly for the division right there.
Ooh, that could be a game, huh?
So, yep. So that could be for the NFC North right there for the Week 18. So that's my top 4.
All right, Brady, let's hear it, buddy.
So I refuse to believe that the Packers will be better than the Bears this year, and if they are, you can find somebody else to host this next season. Because if they are, the football gods hate us. After 40 years of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, if Jordan Love is a good quarterback, I might go insane.
That's a solid take. You're right.
So the football gods simply can't do that to us. Also, I think if I had to give first of all, I'll go top 4. I think Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers. With Vikings and Lions coming down to the last week or two, I think the Bears win 8 or 9 games. They're over under set at 7.5 right now. Tom T, I saw your 5.5 down in the comments. But no, I think they take a good step this year is the hope. The weapons are now there for Justin. There's no excuses anymore. They've made their defensive front last year was abysmal, like historically bad. They've made some additions there. The linebacking core is significantly better. So we'll see.
That on a coordinator, basically. I mean, he should have been fired early on. Honestly.
It's just the thing that everybody's like, oh, the Bears won 3 games last year. Well, Justin kept them in a lot of football games. There was 8 one-score games. If you look at they went 1-7 in one-score games. Yeah. You flip a couple of those last year, and they don't get the first overall pick. They don't get DJ Moore, which I'm thankful for. But I don't think this team's as far away as some people think with the 3-14 record. How many? Is it going to be 7? Is it going to be 9? Who knows? But I'm optimistic, and I'm cautiously optimistic. But one thing I am convinced is that Jordan Love cannot be good, or I don't know what I'll do. So.
Right.
Oh, and I did pull up. This is not to say that DJ Moore is anywhere close to this player, but DJ Moore's first 5 seasons, 365 receptions, 5,200 yards, 21 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Second player, 365 receptions, so 1 more, 4,600 yards, which is 600 less, and 30 touchdowns, which is 9 more. DJ Moore is 1, Stephon Diggs is 2, before he went with Josh Allen to Buffalo. One of the things, and this is not me saying DJ Moore is as good as Stephon Diggs because he's got a lot of production before that happens. But I think one of the things that we need to remember is DJ Moore had basically no quarterback for the first 5 years of his NFL career, and it'll be it'll be seeing how good the chemistry between him and Fields are, and if Justin
Right.
can take the next step passing wise, because we know his legs are there. It'll be the arm that decides how good this team's going to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's the thing, man. It's funny because me and Brady actually are on the same page as far as where I see these standings. And it's not to take any light away from the Lions at all. Like I said, I honestly feel like it's going to be a battle to the end between the Vikes and Lions, like Brady said. And yeah, it might even come down to that week, one of the last weeks towards the end of the season there when they play each other to really capitalize on who wins that division. I feel like, and again, coming from a Vikings fan and coming from anyone, it's probably going to be like, yep, here we go again. But I haven't over the course of 5 or 10 years, I haven't every year been like, oh yeah, we have a great team built here. We have what we need. Thought looking at some things last year before the season started looked good. Didn't realize our defensive coordinator was going to be so horrid and so bad. And then that led to how our defense was set up. I mean, I think things changed. I think the atmosphere, I think what they're building with Flores coming in as a defensive coordinator, you're basically taking another head coach and just having him run the defense. I mean, you got between him and Kevin O'Connell and the new GM and everything else. I mean, they got some things working here. They're pulling some things together, and I just feel like it's going to be very, very, very difficult to take them or knock them out this year anyway in the NFC North. But again, I think it's going to be tight, and I think it's going to be close. So I'm with it. I'm the same way. And again, I would put the Packers last. And sorry, cheeseheads, but I'd put them last in this division. Kind of the same way that Brady might have touched on it. I know Nate did. The whole Jordan Love thing being in question, right? We've seen some of him in the preseason, but again, this is preseason. We haven't really seen him. We haven't seen him as a starter in the NFL like regular season games. So it'll be interesting after the first couple weeks to see where he is, how well he is doing, how well he plays, to kind of make a better assumption of where these Packers might be and if he is the next Aaron Rodgers for Green Bay, which we're all going to be wanting to look for a different team if you're in the NFC North, if that's the case, if it's going to be another 10-year run of just getting manslaughtered with a Rodgers now Love type deal. So that's where we're at there. Guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but we are going to go through what we talked about before, and we will take any few questions at the end as well. So if you guys got any other questions, anything specific, go ahead and ask them. Before I get into this next thing, Alex, what I would tell you is it depends on who's available when it comes back around to you. But yes, probably a receiver or a running back again, more than likely, depending upon who's there, who your options are, because every draft goes different. Guys draft people all over the place, so you never really know who's going to be on the table. But it depends on who it is. If you want to let us know as we're doing this, we're still on, we'll give you our takes on it. So now what I want to do is I want to take just a minute or two, and I want to hear from each one of you who is representing the AFC and who is representing the NFC to meet in the Super Bowl this year. Who do you see it right now? Who wants to start? Brady, you want to start? Nate, you want to start? Marty, you want to start?
I'll start.
All right, Brady's going to start.
I'll give the AFC Championship game, and then I'll give the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
Who I think is going to represent each. I think AFC will be Bills Chiefs. I know it's boring. They are two of the best teams in football. And I'm going to go Josh Allen finally gets over the hump. And I'll take the Bills in the AFC, representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And then the NFC, I'm going to go Eagles 49ers. And I'm going to take the Eagles to represent the NFC.
So, wow. So you think Mr. Irrelevance got it to get him to the NFC Championship, huh?
I just think the roster's so good and the defense is very good. And if it's one of those things where when it comes to playoff football, we kind of know how it is. Especially there's no threatening teams in the NFC, I think personally, that are like there's no team that scares me with them. That it's like that offense is such a juggernaut, they're just going to get manhandled. And I think that we saw last year with Purdy that he can be a game manager, and I think that can get him as far as the NFC Championship game, but I don't think that'll get him to a Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. Nate?
All right. I guess let's see. Okay, so for the AFC Championship game, I'm gonna go Bengals, Chiefs. Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna spice it up. I think Joe Burrow's gonna make a return to the Super Bowl, so I got the Bengals being the Chiefs in the AFC, and then the NFC I got the same. I got Eagles, 49ers, clearly two best teams in the conference, and I'm gonna go with my Eagles as well. So I got Bengals and Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Bengals,
Burrow
Eagles.
and Hurts.
All right, I like it. Marty?
NFC, I'm thinking it's the same exact thing. The Niners and the Eagles are just head and shoulders above the other teams in the NFC, in my opinion. With Dallas having Dak, I don't think they're getting over the hump. So I think it's going to be Eagles from the NFC. I think the AFC, I'm exact same situation. Bengals versus Chiefs. Joe Shiesty plays the Chiefs hard, so I'm thinking the Bengals are going to take them out. Hate to do this, but I think the Bengals are taking it all.
Wow, you heard it here first from Mr. Marty, Chef Marty in the house. Let's go.
Oh man, Burrow's a stud.
He is.
He is.
He absolutely is. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit too. There's gonna be some teams you've already heard from all these guys, but there's gonna be two teams you haven't heard, and it's one representing each side, right? So I'm gonna go Bills versus Jags in the AFC Championship. Mr. T-Law is going to make his appearance in the AFC Championship game this year against Mr. Josh Allen. Okay? I'm also going to take the Eagles as well. So, Nate, just keep rocking, keep smiling, keep liking it. But I'm going to have those Eagles playing my Vikes in an NFC Championship game. Okay? And I'm going to take the Bills versus the Vikes for the Super Bowl. That's my picks.
I have a sincere question for you, Def.
Yes.
Do you think Kirk Cousins is good enough to lead them to a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Ask Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, okay. That's all I needed to know.
Right.
I have less confidence in Kirk Cousins.
I know. A lot of people do. But yet he's always like in the top 5 for about any stat out there that throws over 4,000 yards and has over a 70% completion percentage. He's not throwing 1,000 yards a year.
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with – I think he puts up stats very well. But when we get into the playoffs, it's just as much as like, can you elevate the roster around you? And I think when you talk about the elites of the elites, I think I put Cousins in like a lower tier than I would Burrow. Mahomes,
I see this year kind of like a Stafford thing going to the Rams, right? With the new defensive coordinator, the changes, the moves they're making. I see it as a Stafford thing where he hasn't really – last year he didn't really have that defense. He had a decent team around him. But, again, the defensive line sucked because of our defensive coordinator. There's some other holes there too. But I don't know. I see it differently. It probably won't happen, but I'm trying to take a shot. I don't want to be like everybody else picking the same teams all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, you're talking to a guy that's riding high on fields, so I'm –
right. No, I got you.
I was more curious than what your thought was on.
Yeah, I mean, do I think we should stick with him for like more than this season or a couple more years? Probably not at this point, right? Because he's already had his run, he's already had his shots. He's set up probably the best he's going to be set up, I would think, as of right now. What's available, what we could do with the team they have this year. So if he can't do it this year, get him out of there. Let's rebuild. Let's get another quarterback.
Yeah.
Pick someone young up.
Did they pick anybody up in the secondary this year? Because I know their cornerbacks were getting toasted last year.
Well,
I believe that was lack of pressure.
Yeah, it was. It all had. I mean, again, dude, everybody was hounding, like, going, "Why isn't this coordinator getting fired? What the hell is he doing?" Like, yeah, everything was just the way they set shit up was just crap. So, I'm trying to. I think we did, didn't we? We picked up. Yes, we did. We picked up Byron Murphy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Murphy was one that we picked up. I think that's pretty much when it comes to corners and safeties. I think that's pretty much what we picked up. But Murphy was a big pickup. So, for sure. All right. Balls says, here's Balls. NFC, Bears, Packers, AFC, Jets, Chiefs, Bears, Jets, Bears beat Rodgers. Oh, buddy. You're too much. All right. You guys got anything else for me tonight or the crew? Otherwise, I'm going to let you guys get going because you've already given me way more than enough time and the rest of everybody enough time. So it's good to actually be back on this. Marty, man, if you got time, Monday nights, we're probably – so the season's technically kicks off in like a week and a half or whatever, 2 weeks. So we won't do another one until after – we'll probably do it after week
The
1?
11th.
Yeah, the 11th or so. But Mondays at 7 p.m. We'll be on here every week during the regular season, discussing the previous week, kind of looking ahead at next week, things that stick out, whatnot. We're going to try to make them like an hour long, roughly. That's it, and not try to be longer than that because it just gets too drawn out. But I think it all overall went good. You guys have any takeaways or anything you want to add before we get off of here?
No, I think one of the things that we did last year was throw some comments in the video.
Yes.
We will answer any questions on our next podcast, whether it be things you want us to talk about, news that you saw break that you want us to talk about. Throw those in the YouTube comments, and definitely read them next time we're on.
Nate?
I guess like we could kind of I don't know, like I'm sure you won't like really like go deep into this, but probably can touch on like the Fanatics news, the Fanatics and Panini news.
On the hobby side.
Yep.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I mean we could touch on it real quick. Probably let's just get everything else wrapped up as far as on the NFL side of things, like just in general as far as like the teams and how the podcast went. Marty, you got anything to add?
One dark horse team I'm looking at this year, I think Seattle's going to overachieve. That's all.
I love it, man. I'm a fan of it. Like I said, I don't know how people can't be a fan of someone like a Geno Smith, like just a comeback guy who's finally making something happen. Like it's good to see, no matter who it is, whether it's your team you root for or not, right? You're just happy to see a guy succeed who's had so many ups and downs his whole career. So I like it. All right. I mean, if anybody wants to stick around real quick, touch on the Fanatics thing. I mean, what's your take on it as far as, Panini pulling out early? What is it? 3 years early, I think, or out of the NFL making game now?
I don't know. Like, I'm just surprised that it came this early, and then two is what's be the first product to be affected by it? Because I'm pretty sure Panini probably has a bunch of products already in production already. So
definitely.
I'm like, what's the first product going to be like? I guess unlicensed. I guess for Panini.
So here's my biggest thing. Here's people try to ask me about this, and I don't know that I have the right takes for the whole Fanatics Panini thing that's going on with all of this. But at the end of the day, as a collector, as a hobby enthusiast, whatever you want to call it, whoever you are, however you collect, whatever you do with collecting or sports cards, I think the biggest things that a lot of people want to see is when Fanatics is taken over and Fanatics is actually in charge of doing all the stuff Panini, has been, the QC, right? Is the quality control going to improve? Is it going to be better? That's what people want. How often do you see people pulling these big cards, low-numbered cards that are chrome, whatever, and have print lines in them or have this or have a big ding in them right out of the pack? Yep. I mean, it's frustrating. And then you're like, I just pulled this big card. It's already crap out of the pack. Now I got to fight with Panini or fight with whoever to try to get it. The other question is, I'm not sure, and maybe they've already said some of this. Are they going to get away from redemptions, or are they always going to have redemptions? And is that program going to actually be better and be more fluent and more? You're not going to be waiting 3 years for a card to come back. I think these are some things that are more in question than. Yeah, okay, they're going through a lawsuit. They're suing them. They're out earlier. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of us are just more like, hey, we want to see good quality cards. We want to see the QC better. We want to see redemptions getting fulfilled if you're going to continue to do redemptions in a timely manner. I get it. We got to wait on players to sign them. But sometimes I think they just sit on this stuff, right? Like, there's no way, like, some of these old veteran players that they've signed a bunch of stuff already don't have a card that is signed, or they can't get a card, or if it's a sticker one, they don't have a sticker already signed they can't have on this card that's numbered to 3 or 5 or 15 or 20 or whatever it is. So I don't know. Anyone else got a take on it at all?
Yeah. I can tell you, I've just started within the last year, maybe 2 years, really got into baseball products. Right. I just saw I thought the value was better. I like baseball anyway. And honestly, I just got tired of Panini's crap quality control. If you go back and look at one of Anthony's videos, Pittsburgh,
Yep.
there's a short of me opening a box of Crown Royal when I hit the Luka Doncic kaboom. And the corner on that thing, there's no way I would have gotten even a remotely decent grade.
Oh,
I had to sell at about 50% of comps. I was sick.
See, that's not okay. Like, that's absolutely not okay. Like, there's no reason that should happen, especially a card like that.
Yep.
Like, now they can't control what happens as it's being shipped, but if the box is not, if there's not a corner banged to crap before it's opened, or this or that looks like it could have been damaged because it was dropped or somebody dropped it or did whatever, it's got to come out clean. I mean, it can't. That's just crazy to me.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's one of the biggest chase cards in the set.
Right.
You know,
right.
And to see that, and the thing with the way it was set up, it was like a 7-card pack, but the pack was inside a box in its own little area. So it would have had to have been either A, before the card even made it into the pack, or B, before the pack made it into the box.
Right.
Because the box was fine. I got it at it was one of the card shops in California. I can't even remember which one.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you know, you see that, and then I have redemptions with Panini that are 3+ years old. My oldest redemption with Topps right now is about 4 months.
Yeah, they're always usually really good. It's quick turnaround.
Can I give
Topps has on-card autos.
Yeah.
Panini is stickers.
Yeah.
So why, you know, someone should just be able to, in theory, get a bunch of stickers shipped to them. They sign 1 million of them and ship them back, right?
Exactly. Or have their friend or brother sign them, as we see sometimes in question of is the signature legit?
I'm still waiting on a Jaw second-year auto out of 50. You think?
Oh, jeez.
That was 2020. You know how bad that card's plummeted by now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, I just read something too recently that I guess there's some actual gangs that are actually like not happy with him because he's doing his weird gang stuff, throwing up gang signs and stuff, like fake gang signs. Like, there's apparently people that have been kind of coming after him. So I don't know. He's getting himself in a little too deep, and where he's blown all his money, who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows? There's another story on that too. But all right, Brady, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm going to give an optimistic side of this whole thing. And it's more of where I think the hobby's going in general.
Yeah.
I think the 2020 boom was great for the hobby and also terrible for the hobby because it made these companies just be able to print anything they wanted and know that it was going to get bought up at any price they put.
Yep.
And I think the market is slowly correcting to the point where they're going to have to start putting out quality product, or they're going to lose people from actually buying product moving forward. So if Fanatics is going to take over a lot of this production, not only from the football side, but, you know, all the sports that they're currently, looking to get into, they're going to have to improve quality in order for the market share to continue to grow at a pace that makes sense for all of the acquisitions that they've made. And I think that the hope is that the average collector will be able to slowly see this over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And so that's my optimistic approach. It is a cautiously optimistic approach, but I know Marty said before the stream started that, you know, he's moved into singles. I've only done singles ever since 2020. I just didn't buy product. I've never gotten into it. I bought a couple things to hold for a couple years, but other than that, I don't rip. And I think more and more people are moving towards that end. So if they're going to want to move product, they have to update this QC. So.
And, you know, and that's you bring up a good thing too, Brady, about, and Marty did earlier, talking about how he said, like, he's, like you just touched on, like, he's gone to singles and not opening boxes like crazy like he used to. You know, I used to be like seeing a new video almost every day on Pittsburgh's channel with Chef Marty. They're at a card shop. He's opening, ripping a box or ripping a couple box or ripping stacks of the big Bowman draft, jumbo 2-side packs, whatever it was. And this leads me to one thing I want to say about that as well, is I think a big thing that drives me away from like wanting to buy product these days to open like packs or boxes is that you see it so often, right? And yes, you would love to be the person that gets one of those boxes that's just absolutely loaded, right? Because it seems like a box is either loaded or a box is pretty much meh, right? There's really usually not an in between. Like even on the retail side, even on Blaster, you either get loaded with it, you get like some crazy cool, like I got a what's that Indiana Pacers player, the rookie from last year, whatever, Matherin or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
I got like a
Matherin?
purple, I got like a purple optic auto of his, like a perfect purple prism. I got like another card numbered to 15, like 13 of 15. I got all this crazy shit in this one blaster. And then you open these other blasters, the same thing, and it's like there's really nothing in there. There's like maybe a base, like a base rookie of like one of the top rookies, like maybe a base. No silver, no nothing, no other parallels. And that's the same way it goes, even with the high-end product, right? You see NT boxes opening. It's usually either it's a loaded box or it's just kind of, it's been okay. That drives me insane because, yes, I would love to be a guy that gets, just like anybody, gets a loaded box, but I'm not going to keep playing that game if that's the reality of how they're packing this stuff or, sourcing it out. What do they call it? Colluding? Or what is the word they use in the hobby world with how they pack stuff? Like how they get packed? Isn't it? It starts with a C, I thought. I can't think of the word right now. Is it colluding? Not colluding.
The order in which they put the cards in the pack.
Yes, and how they're packed. Right.
Yeah, I don't remember what the word is. But.
Yeah, it's no big deal. You guys know what I'm talking about, but that's kind of that's why I've been at such a. I mean, I will randomly get a blaster or something if there's like an optic or prism or a Topps Chrome or something in the store. I might grab one, but it's not like how it used to be where I'd grab 2, 3, 4. I'm not in it the same way because I don't feel like it's hard, and especially on the retail side, they even said it's going to be harder as the years go on with Fanatics and everything else. Like a lot of the good hits, the big hits, from what I heard, are going to be very, 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 very difficult to hit in a retail product. It's going to be more just all hobby driven. You can get some parallels and things like that, but that's kind of the extent of it from what I've been hearing. Not right now, but eventually that's what I heard is going to happen. So we'll see. We don't have enough subs to get loaded boxes. Yeah. Pittsburgh says we don't have enough subs to get loaded boxes. We don't get the loaded ones. Nice stab there, brother. Like it. All right. Anything else, guys? Are we good? We good?
They were good.
All right. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. Brady, Marty, Nate. Thank you guys for coming on here tonight, spending over an hour with us, sharing your insights. I think it went good overall for us kind of coming together. It's been a while for our first one. Things will get more smooth. Everything will be more in order as the weeks go on. But we're going to try to keep it an hour. We went a little longer because we touched on some hobby stuff here at the end. But all in all, I think it all went great. Marty, we'd love to have you as often as you can come on when we do them, man, once a week, Mondays. Again, it won't be till the 11th. It won't be till the 11th now because we got the in-between before the season starts. But, yeah, guys, and good luck to all you fantasy football players out there, anybody who does DFS, anybody who does player props, any of that stuff, man. Let's win some money this season. Let's have a successful season, and let's hope all your teams do well, succeed, and we don't have any crazy injuries with any of our good players or any top players that are going to really screw your team over for the rest of the season. So with that being said, guys, we appreciate y'all for watching. Again, leave comments below, like Brady said. Any questions for the next time we're on, because we go back to the last one, look at the comments, and if there's any questions, we touch on them on the new episode when we're live. So appreciate it, guys. Have a great night, man. We love you. Peace.